everyone, welcome back. It's Ronnie, Mind of a Mad Woman, and I'm gonna talk to you about one of the hardest things, probably hardest videos I'm going to have to record. And before I start, I want to tell you one thing. It's gonna be about my mom, and no judgment. I love my mom very much. I've always wanted to be her friend, and her life has not been easy. So let's begin at the beginning. My mom was born and she grew up in Newark, New Jersey. They were very poor. She grew up in what's known as the projects. She is the youngest of 13 children. However, she also grew up with her oldest brother's first 3 children. That's the story behind that is irrelevant at this point. It doesn't matter why. My mother's mother favored her youngest son, who was it was my mom, my Aunt Rose, and then Tommy. Tommy was the favored. He was her baby boy. I've heard the story from a couple of cousins. I've heard the story from my sister. My mother has never talked about it. She will not talk about it. And so the story is that Tommy used to beat the daylights out of her. Her mother allowed it. The last time he did, he put her in the hospital. And from that point on, she had a restraining order, but her mom chose Tommy over her. And so then my mother proceeded to live with her siblings as a go-round. You know, she'd live a month here, a month there, a month there, a month there. One of the other things that my mother's mother had done was my mother, and this was when my mom was about 16, and this was before the straw that broke the camel's back. She'd turned 16, she'd gotten her first menstrual cycle, and my grandmother beat the hell out of her and accused her of having sex with men, and that was the only reason that she had her menstrual cycle. Her aunt explained to her that no, it was not true. She was with the aunt at the time. They had gone horseback riding, and my mother was really traumatized. So fast forward, my mother's living with one of the sisters, and my Aunt Rose, who is 2 years older than my mother, or was, she introduced her, and her fiance introduced my father and mother, along with my cousin Julie and her future husband. And they were 3 best friends that grew up in the same, area, the Newark projects, and they fell in love. And as of this year, 2018, 53 years of marriage, 55 years together, which is amazing. They celebrated their 50th anniversary, 2015. Anyway, my parents were married September 3rd, 1965. And before I was born, they had a pregnancy, and my mother recently told me that the cord had been wrapped around my brother's neck, and that's the reason he was stillborn. I had never known that until about a month ago, I guess. She still mourns his loss to this day. She still cries. It breaks my heart. Because of all the tragedy she lived with, she did the best she could to raise us. My mother's favorite saying when I was growing up, and until I turned 27 years old, was, "I hate you, I wish you'd never been born." And it hurt so badly. And I wish she'd never said it, but she did. It's water under the bridge now. When I was 27 years old, I told my mother I wish she had aborted me. I told her I wish I had never been born. I told her that I was sorry that I was the bane to her existence, and I told her that I wished I could take away her hatred of me and her pain of having been my mother. My mother was a champion for the underdog, always has been, but she put everyone else before her own children. I love her. I'll love her till the day I die. She's a good woman, but she got screwed up, and she screwed me up. But I'm okay now. I've gotten through this. I have stood up to her, and my mother's told me she loves me every time I talk to her. She even sends me spontaneous text messages. So I know that when I stood up to her, she realized how badly she hurt me, and it stopped. I was angry for a long time. I was angry for a very long time as an adult. But I've gotten through it. I love her dearly, and that's all that matters. No amount of her telling me she hated me, no amount of beatings and abuse stopped the fact that I love that woman, and I tried everything in my power to make her love me. She didn't know any other way. And it doesn't matter anymore. I'm 50 years old. My mom is 71. I love her. I'll always love her. It does not matter. She's a good person. She just didn't know how to be a good mom. She only knew what she knew. She tried. I'm not going to say she failed, because I look at myself as a success as a person. I just know that as much as she did try, she's a great grandmother. She loves her grandkids more than she loves her own children. And that's okay. I like that she loves my son like that. And I harbor no resentment. I just love her. She's my mom. And one day, I really and truly believe that she will know so much better. And so that's kind of the hardest video I've ever had to make or talk about. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye.